Yeah. James, stuff like that. I'd like to call the Muhlenberg Township Board of Commissioners meeting for Monday, May 20th, 2024 to order. All please rise for a pledge of allegiance and please remain standing for a memorial moment. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for all. Please remain standing for a memorial moment for Angelita Nunez, who passed away on May 6th. Angelita was the mother of Police Sergeant Juan Nunez. A memorial moment for Jane Hoover, who passed away on May 10th. Jane was the mother of Police Chief Randall Hoover. Thank you. Good evening, everyone. Marcy, good evening. Sorry we were a little late. We were in an executive session to discuss various personnel matters for tonight's meeting. Public presentation. We do not have any public presentations this evening, I do not believe. So we'll turn it right over to the first public portion. We'll see first if anyone's signed in on the first public portion of time for residents or taxpayers of the township to comment on matters of concern, official actions, or any deliberation that may be before the Board of Commissioners. Director, you are first on the list. Good to see you. Come on.
Thank you. It's good to be here tonight. I'm here representing the Muhlenberg Foundation. I'd like Dee Johnson to start, and we'll be as short as we can.
Go right ahead.
Good evening. Thanks for letting us speak tonight. We are not here to give you any grief or to ask you to do something for us. We're here to say thank you. Thank you for supporting our foundation effort of having the whole Harlem Wizards here to play basketball. It was on some of your social media, and 3 of your officers were at the game to make sure everything went the way it should. And it was wonderful. Rick, I think you were there, weren't you? It was such a good time. The kids loved it. And that's what we do it for. The money that we raise goes right back to the students in some way.
This is the 20th anniversary of the foundation. It was started by former Commissioner Nate DeLuca in 2004. So the Harlem Wizard was our big event for the 20th anniversary. All of the money we raise go to students in the Muhlenberg district. We purchased musical instruments for the elementary music program. We send students to national as well as statewide conferences on science and engineering. We provided computers for the elementary classroom. We initially started a video with $5,000 2 years ago. It's been very successful. And again, we can do all of that thanks to the support that you've given us. A big thank you to Chief Hoover and his officers that evening. We had probably close to 600 people at the event all total. He and his officers were wonderful. I had a chance to chat with him a little this evening. I want to thank him and the men that he brought with him that evening. And again, big thank you to all of you. Without it, we couldn't exist and get the fundraising and give back to the kids. My friend Rick, we go back 30 years. So it was good to see him. And I must confess, Mr. Chairman, while I sat there watching, I thought of your days on that same board.
He wasn't like he was either.
No, he wasn't. I thought about doing it, Mike, but I'll be 80. I'll be 80 in December. I wanted Jim Morrell to play, but he'll be 92 in September. So we thought maybe we're a little too old to go and do that. So again.
Maybe we'll get you next time, Mike.
Thank you very much.
For 6 months notice.
Okay.
Thank you
Thank
both
you.
very much.
Thank you.
Really appreciate it.
Thank you for staying active.
Yes, thank you. Anyone else wish to speak under the first public portion? Go ahead.
Okay. From Muhlenberg Library, we just wanted to thank you for Saturday for helping us with the tables and getting us a spot at the flea market. As always, Karen and Kelly, Heather. Summer reading starts in June 8th. We have anything planned all summer, like summer movies. We've made a connection with Domino's Pizza, who's offered to give us free pizza every time we have a movie night. Doesn't matter how many people. We got a grant from Video Gaming Clubs of America, which got us 10 iPads, computers to build. We've had, anything from podcasting, and that's all through that grant. And one other thing, on Tuesday, June 4th, Aladdin Restaurant over on Penn Avenue. They've agreed to give us 10% of anything that we get for that day. Thank you.
Thank you. Linda, anyone else wish to speak? All right, seeing none, we will move on to the consent agenda. Need a motion to approve the entire consent agenda.
Make a motion. A second.
Any questions or comments? All those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Those if any? The
Can I
ayes-
just make a comment?
Sure.
Sure. I always say that every month, almost chief here, the police reports are very, very, very professionally done by your officers and sergeants. And this VIPR system that you have, I mean, some of the patrolman Wolfers, the arresting data out of that was just incredible. It was, it's a great tool that we have. And how long have we had that?
Installation started about a year ago and they went live, as I say, where the system was turned over to us, like the end of March.
So what a great system, and all the officers are trained on it, and it's, I don't know, is it a secret, but you can tell the people here as to what it's all about?
Well, the Viper system is basically license plate readers. And we can set that system up to alert us on many different aspects. But the big thing is wanted people, stolen vehicles. So anytime one of those vehicles would enter our web, if you will, all the officers that are currently on duty will get a notification as to the license plate from the vehicle, color of the vehicle, and the direction of travel. And to some degree, we're then able to track that vehicle throughout the township until we can either find that vehicle and stop. It's basically what the system is.
Thank you.
Thank you, chief. Do we vote on that motion?
No.
All those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Those if any? The ayes have it, so ordered. Anyone of the commissioners have any unfinished business? All right, move on to new business. Any motion to approve payment of bills presented by the Director of Finance and Customer Service?
Move. Second.
Questions or comments? All those in favor signify by saying aye. Those if any? The ayes have it, so ordered. A motion to request an updated eligibility list from the Civil Service Commission for the position of patrol officer.
Motion. Second.
Questions or comments? All those in favor signify by saying aye. Those if any? The ayes have it, so ordered. A motion to authorize the Public Works Superintendent to close portions of Beaumont Avenue for the 2024 St. Marco Festival on August 2nd to 4th, 2024.
Motion. Second.
Questions or comments? All those in favor signify by saying aye. Those if any? The ayes have it, so ordered. A motion to award the bid for duty weapons and accessories to firemen in the amount of $40,746. Questions or comments?
Chief, I don't think we're making comments.
Not this time.
This was slightly less than This was slightly less than what we had anticipated. And it does involve the trade-in of all of A, old weapons, as well as B, some used weapons that we have that we will no longer need.
My understanding, there was some concerns about the weapons discharging by accident, and that's why they went yet.
That is partially correct, yes. There was also due to just the serviceability of the weapons, the age, number of rounds that were fired to the weapons. And they were at their service stage, so it would have required us to basically break down each of the firearms and completely rebuild them with all the springs, et cetera. So it was a kind of difference.
Thank you, Chief. Any further questions or comments? All those in favor signify by saying aye. Those if any? The ayes have it, so ordered. Before we make the motion for item E, I think some of the commissioners would like to talk about it. We all received, your huge Jeremy Garl sheet the other week with all of the roads. We've done a great job of paving many roads, Jeremy. I don't know how many it's been in the last 8 years. You probably have it right off the top of your head. 82 roads. So, with the cost of things going up, the roads that we wanted to include this year exceeded our budget by, we usually budget $540,000 for a road program. This new program is about $750,000. And it's, when we pave roads, we try to do it all in one specific area because of the equipment, just makes logical sense to do that. So, probably the largest one I've seen Avenue, probably the largest one on the list. Baton George. So, it was whether we stick within the budget amount and eliminate a road, or whether we go and take some money out of our $4 million reserve fund to make up that difference. So, I'll turn it over to my commissioners if they have any comments on it, before we make the motion to award it. So I know Commissioner Lurch wanted to have a few comments on it, and then I'll pass it over to the other commissioners.
Yeah, thank you, Commissioner Malinowski. I get concerned whenever we have to dip into our reserves for capital purchases or the budget, to balance our budget. And this is a conversation I think we've had ongoing for the last, I don't know, many years. You know, you have reserves for a reason, and I understand that, you know, we've been prudent and very judicial, I think, with the amount that we've been taking from reserves. But knowing that the cost of everyday business of everything continues to go up, you know, I do get very concerned if there were some type of an emergency that we would really need to dip into those reserves, something totally unexpected. So that's why I get a little bit concerned when we do these things. However, to the point that Jeremy has made, you know, when we do roads in a particular section of the township, there is important logic to make sure that we are getting the roads done, as many as we can, so that we're not putting it off. That way, you know, we can move on to another section while we have, we can concentrate on the section while we have the manpower and the equipment. And we know that if we postpone even one or two of these roads, you know, the price of asphalt and labor is gonna probably skyrocket until next year. So I'm okay, with a little hesitancy to tap into the reserve, to be able to do this. However, I think, given that concern, Dawn has made a valid point, when we have our budget meeting, that, you know, we probably need to make sure that we take a harder look at capital expenses, and that we really lay out for 2025, what kind of things we think we're gonna need for capital, so we can budget accordingly without having to dip into that reserve. If I have my druthers, I'd like to be able to put some money back into reserves. So while I am in favor of doing this, I just do it with that caveat that come budget time, you know, we make sure that we take a really good hard look at what capital is, and we kind of live into what that budget is without having to dip into reserve. And all our department heads, I know that means we need to kind of you know, I say fight the bullet, but, you know, we need to tighten belts a little bit, just make sure that, you know, we as commissioners, you know, it will fall to us to make those decisions, but, you know, there will be some hard decisions to make. And I say that with the knowledge that, you know, we'll probably be looking at increasing staff in certain departments, you know, and some real budgetary needs for the safety and ongoing just day-to-day operations of the township. So that's my concern, and I don't take anything else away from my fellow commissioners. Thank you.
Yeah.
You took my speech away.
I saw it.
I mean, I respectfully voted against your truck. I'm trying to get a line yet. But, I mean, the reason being, you know, there's wants and needs, and this is a need. And I will go for this because I saw all the other estimates as to what other places would charge us, and this was a good price. You know, my concern is we all have our budgets, and we can't go over our budgets in our houses, and you know, we always, it seems, you know, I'm very proud of being on this board, prior boards and this board, because, you know, we always seem to end up in the black because we watch how we spend our money. But I totally agree with what Commissioner Rich just said. I think, you know, it might make the Saturday morning budget hearing a little bit longer. It might take a little more work from our department heads, but I think that we have to look as to whether or not, you know, we need new pistols. We got to put that in the budget so that if we need a tax increase, we need a tax increase. I mean, we went for 6 years without a tax increase. You know, maybe, you know, what we should be doing is, you know, knowing exactly how much we're going to be spending, you know, in your departments, so that we can, if we get a tax increase, we're going to do it. Because we have to follow our budget. I know, you know, last month or 2 months ago, you know, Dawn basically said, look for the money in the line item some other place. I mean, I think I looked at our budget along with our manager today. I think we're looking pretty good. I don't think this is gonna hurt us. I know we have some expenses coming up that are gonna be coming up in the next year or so. I just don't want to deplete. I like having money in reserve, just in case we have that problem. We have these emergencies, you know, but, and that's when we should be using it. I look at this vote here as, you know, do we have to do hay? You know, I don't know, but it's gonna cost more next year for sure, and that's why I'm gonna vote.
Commissioners and comments?
Yes, I know you have to tie our belts and hold back on everything else maybe, but the roads are safety. People complain if you don't have good roads and that stuff. That's why I think you have to go through it. We'll shut Bellevue down probably next year. Mostly on George, driving up and down Georgia, Bellevue. I know we have to just watch what we spend in the next couple of years. I understand, you know, how many of they say 82, that's pretty good. See that, that's pretty good to see that in your. You don't have to keep complaining about the roads.
If I could also say one other thing, I'm talking to Tim Fultonberg today, and I know you mentioned, Mr. Chairman, that let's get the roads that needs to be worked on. He says he needs a year to prepare to do any major infrastructure for water and sewer. So we need to tell him a year in advance as to what roads we're gonna be doing, so he can get, because they get a third party out there to do the job. They don't do the jobs themselves. So I told him to get a list together, Jeremy, give it to you as to what roads, what infrastructure he needs to do in the next couple of years.
Commissioner Sterling, comments?
I'm not a huge fan of going over budget, but I understand the necessity. I think, we really needed to cut it back. I think it's possible. But, you know, I understand the necessity, so I'm gonna agree.
All right, and I need a motion to award the 2024 annual roads paving project to Allen Myers Inc. in the amount of $750,000.
Make a motion.
I'll say.
Any further questions or comments?
The only comment that I'll make is this is for contract A only, the road paving project. We will have agenda items for contracts B and C, which are a portion of the Schuylkill River Trail and the Riverside Basin Trail projects at next month's meeting.
Okay, thank you, Jim. All those in favor signify by saying aye. Noes if any? The ayes have it, so ordered. I need a motion to adopt resolution 2024-02 approving the sewage planning module for the NDA Muhlenberg LDP for the project located at 440 North Fifth Street Highway.
I'll move. Second.
Should be 44. It all banned about problem.
Okay,
My mistake.
we'll just amend that in the minutes, please, Marcy. Any questions or comments? All those in favor signify by saying aye. Noes if any? The ayes have it, so ordered. I need a motion to grant conditional final plan approval to the 7 Brew Land Development Project condition on SCEI's most recent review letter dated May 13, 2024, along with all waivers as requested and contributions to the township curb and sidewalk fund in lieu of construction sidewalk at the project site.
So moved.
Sorry. Questions or comments?
This is about a 2-month process from the time they came to us and said, we want to build this building, until today. So, they've had 2 plan, submissions, and System Design has had 2 plan reviews done in that period of time. 7 Brews will go where the Checkers is now.
Thank you. Any further questions or comments? All those in favor signify by saying aye. Noes if any? The ayes have it, so ordered. Motion to grant additional plan approval of the whole property group cell tower subdivision condition on SCE's most recent review letter dated May 14, 2024, and plan acknowledgement in the maintenance responsibilities of the stormwater BMP that passes on to the property.
Move.
Questions or comments?
This project was stalled for a little while when the property owner did not want to provide, road frontage, to the subdivided lot. And this is the cell tower that's right down here on the field tree.
Thank you, Jim. All those in favor signify by saying aye. Those if any? The ayes have it, so ordered. A motion to grant conditional preliminary plan approval of the Muhlenberg School District Master Plan condition on SC's May 13, 2024 review letter.
Make a motion.
I'll second.
Any questions or comments?
This is part of the larger phase plan that had been discussed, in the past in regards to ultimately a new school building for the district.
Any further questions or comments?
I'd just like to say, I know when we were creating our comprehensive plan, we were fortunate enough to have representation from the school district in those meetings and to help us take a look at that plan. And there was a lot of discussion about where the school district is heading. And we had some really great cooperation and a lot of good insight as to, you know, the makeup of the township and what the populace is going to be looking like, you know, in the next 5, 10 to 20 to 25 years. So I know that, you know, we've often sat here at odds with the school district. But I know that these plans, there's a lot of work that has gone into that. You know, there's a lot of foresight. I know that these are some big ticket items. But from what I can see, I'm glad that we had that cooperation and we know where at least we stand with what they're working on, so.
One thing I'd like to say, we talk about building the school, how to have that built. I mean, kids ain't Clemson City already, or Penhurst or Wilson coming to school, kids are coming to school. They're building new houses, they're moving over here in Kutztown Road and Temple and that. The older people are passing on, the other people moving in, they're coming in, having 2 or 3 kids and that. We've got almost, each class is maybe 50 to 100 kids more. Each school we got close to 1,000 kids in it already. And We ain't just saying already, just come in here, no, the kids are living in Muhlenberg, we police officers, check that out all the time, follow people around. It was self, you know, the buses here and that, no street issue, watches that pretty good all the time.
Thank you, Commissioner. Any other further questions or comments? All those in favor signify by saying aye. Noes, if any. The ayes have it, so ordered. A motion to grant conditional preliminary final plan approval of the Muhlenberg School District synthetic turf practice field detailed as phase 2 of the master plan, as well as all waivers as requested. Addition on SC's review letter dated May 13, 2024, and the additional mental shade trees for the planning commission's request.
Motion.
Second. Questions?
This is phase 2. Phase 1 of the master plan is actually occurring in Laurelville, so we won't ever see phase 1. We'll see phase 2 and phase 2, and phase 3 will ultimately be the school building and additional parking and drive aisles that are associated.
Thank you. Yeah. Any further questions or comments? All those in favor signify by saying aye. Those if any. The ayes have it, so ordered. A motion to authorize the township manager to apply for the LSA grant funding to replace the Reading Crest playground equipment.
Motion.
Any questions or comments? All those in favor signify by saying aye. Those if any. The ayes have it, so ordered. Mr. Bowman, any more business?
Yes, Alex Lumko is here, and we've been working on a fleet replacement and a fleet assessment plan for the fire company for the last couple of months. Alex, if you would, take a couple of seconds and talk about what you've done to date and what opportunities have recently arisen.
Sure. I'll start off by saying purely informative, just kind of want to talk about some costs, my job. I'm currently looking at all future needs, costs, and kind of currently where our fleet is condition wise. For the larger township fire department, we always have to be looking at the fleet planning for the future. As we discussed previously, currently have an LSA grant from last year that proposes the possible purchase of a new engine to replace an engine from 1991 that we're still operating. Over the last couple of weeks, we've been made known that there's several opportunities regarding demo engines with local dealers here in central PA. Just wanted to kind of talk through that. There's some things that should be known right now. Lead time of a new fire truck is about 4 years or more. So you can imagine over the next couple of years how costs are going to increase. Right now, to give you an idea, the demo engine that we kind of looked at from a market perspective is around $900,000. That same engine, if it was purchased 4 years lead time going down, would be another 10 to 15% higher. So looking at costs, looking at current opportunities in the market, just wanted to bring this up. So it's kind of on everyone's horizon. We're going to need some needs in the fire department in the coming years, whether we expect something out and wait 4 years, or we kind of take advantage of some opportunities that are readily available. In the long run, it might save 10 to 15% cost wise. I'm taking a look at a demo or stock unit that they're referring to. So that's kind of the basic gist of tonight's information. I know there's probably a lot more conversation needed to really understand this, but if there's any further questions, I'd be happy to kind of talk through that.
Could you tell that the fire engine that we had in repair right now?
Sure, so there's, so our current ladder truck has been out of service for approximately the past month. That's a 2011 manufactured year. Right now, we have issues with a frame cross member being cracked, as well as a rear suspension component that is sheared off. We're waiting on parts. We were supposed to maybe see it back before the holiday weekend coming up. They're still waiting on parts, so I wouldn't be surprised if it's another month at this point. Again, 2011 model truck. They're severe duty apparatus. They're always hitting the streets. They have a lot of weight. You never know when a component can go wrong on them. And it's kind of always looking and planning ahead to make sure you don't end up in a position that something's out of service for a long term. So
Thank you, Chief. Yeah, part of that, and this is probably the one question, from a bonding perspective. We have stuff coming off the books, I should probably know this, don't we?
We do, we've got a couple of low interest loans, the firehouse, the mortgage on the old Temple Fire Company building, we paid that off. So that was $75,000.
That wasn't one of our bond issues though, correct?
Oh, no,
Yeah.
Dawn.
Because we
Better.
borrowed for the ladder truck, right? Didn't take bond issue out of that. Yeah, so anyway, before the chief, I'd at least like to sit down and go through that and go on of what's coming up, what could be refinanced, how much you would need, but you usually get like a 1% loan for half a million, 2%.
2% loan, we
Yeah.
currently have 2% loans, and that's the max.
Is that what we have right
So
now?
we would have to probably look at closing out the rescue loan, which has expired next year, so there's only about 15,000 note on that.
Okay,
So that would free up an additional 2% loan that we could look at. I do potentially have some grant funding that I could put towards the purchase to kind of lessen the impact on the township. And that might kind of push out the first year of
Yeah,
financing if we looked at that.
I'm just trying to see, chief, your whole capital plan, to Kevin's point, over the 5-10 year period. What's the right way to take money out of it? So we can talk about this. Thank you, chief.
Excuse me, Chief, you were talking about financing for the first year of the grant.
Yes, we have a couple of thoughts. With the grant that I have, we do have money earmarked for vehicle replacement. Roughly, probably close to $100,000 could be put towards a project like this if we would kind of move forward with something. So that's a little over 10% of the cost of the $900,000 engine. So a big success. If you look at financing 800,000 over 12 years, you're about interest about $70,000 to $75,000 a year for the 12 years.
Not my wheelhouse, but if you would go without pushing that way, could you then get a bond after, if in fact?
Yeah, I think what we have to do is, we haven't done this, the exercise of value, what we have, how much time's left, what we're using for some of the prior apparatus. One of the major things that we used it for historically, and also some debt like on this building, so I don't know without looking at it, well, but Commissioner, but yeah, I think there's a process. Me, Jim and Dawn can go through starting with to say, what's up, what can be refinanced, do we need $2 million? Because that's not bad when you're in a municipality. I know someone might punch me, but taxpayers should get the benefit 10 years from now from something that taxpayers have to pay for now. So I know folks just hear me say that a lot. I'm sick of hearing it, but I do think we're at a point now where there's something we could probably look at to get that. So, but yes, Commissioner, I've done that before.
I have a question, Chief. Is there a deadline on the LSA grant?
I believe we were hoping to hear something by August or September.
This was a grant that we applied for last year. So we actually reached out to the senator's office and I don't recall seeing a response. Do you? We had a couple of questions in regards to what, if awarded, how quickly could the funding be used? Could it be used back pay certain projects? The LSA grant that we were awarded for the Riverside Basin Trail project, the award date was actually stalled 3 or 4 times, which turned out to be 6 or 7 months. So it's tough to say. I think ideally they wanted to award it by August or September of this year, but it's tough to say how that'll actually shake out.
Thank you, everyone. Any other new business?
Yes, I do. All right, I may catch some of you off guard with this. I know I had some conversations. After last year's Riverfest, I had some conversations with some of our staff members. I had conversations with our members of our police department and members of the general public. And there is a growing concern about the number of dogs that people bring to the Riverfest event. And as years have gone by, there are more and more dogs coming to the event. And we've seen some increases in the number of incidents that we have. I believe we had a child bit, that was last year. We've had a couple of dogs fighting each other, and I know that we've had to remove some dog owners from the event because their dogs were a little unruly. And after some consideration and getting some feedback from the police and from our Parks and Recreation Board, what I would like to do is put forth a motion to ban pets from this year's Riverfest event. I don't have anything against dogs. I don't have anything against events that have dogs there. But the reality is that as the number of people that come to Riverfest increase, and we have more people on the trail, there's those without dogs are just becoming at odds with those that have dogs. And it's not necessarily even that the dogs are at hand, but there are other little incidents that take place too, and you have 4 or 5 dog owners kind of gathering, and leashes are going every one way, and people are trying to get up and down the trail. Those are some of the complaints that I hear. The concern that I hear from the police department and from some of our department heads and from other attendees at the event is that, you know, there may be another major incident. And I've given this thought, and I don't want to be known as the commissioner who hates dogs. However, you know, just for the benefit of everybody that attends the event, I would like to put forth a motion that we do ban, and I'm gonna say pets. Because I don't want somebody to come and bring an iguana because they can't bring, you know, their Great Dane. I'm doing this for the general safety of all the public that attends the event. Again, it's not to punish anybody. I think, you know, probably 95% of the dog owners who come, their dogs are well behaved. But the event is really geared towards people. It is not necessarily a pet geared event. And we do have events like that. We have a wonderful dog park, which I you know, tell people to take advantage of. But just in the interest of safety and a preventative measure, for all concerned, I'm gonna make this motion.
I would just interject from a legal perspective, because this wasn't published on the agenda. I would recommend that the board wait until next month's meeting to take any action on that motion so it can be published.
Sure. I mean, and that would give us some time to maybe put some verbiage together, and I can certainly work on that. You know, certainly people are coming with service dog, verified, legitimate service dogs, and I'm not talking emotional support pets, and I don't want to get into trouble here. But, you know, there's a difference between an emotional support pet and an actual verified, certified service dog. In my estimation, if somebody were coming to the event and you have to have an emotional support dog, maybe the Riverfest isn't the event to come to, just the sheer number of people and the type of activity that takes place, but we can certainly work to put something together.
Ask a question.
Sure.
How many notable or reportable incidents do we have last year? Do you know off the top of your head?
Last year, to my knowledge, that we were notified of was one, and I don't remember the age of the child, they were less than 10, was bit in the face. Right. And most of the incidents that we experience are not due to per se aggressive dogs. But as the commissioner said, oftentimes it is, those dogs are being exposed to an environment that they might not necessarily be accustomed to. Kids are stepping on paws, grabbing tails, people tripping over the leash. If another dog is in heat, that also causes problems. So since Riverfest and my involvement in Riverfest, it is usually dogs fighting each other, and occasionally we'll have somebody like bit on the ankle, or like I said last year, it was the child.
Thank you.
Another question. The dog. Find some other place for the dogs to go down Riverfest, not down a trail or somewhere else. Well, you look at our website, you know, our website, we're friendly with dogs and that stuff. Now we're gonna put that out there. The dogs can't come to Riverfest and that. I mean, they can't learn that in my book.
Well, yeah, I think, Commissioner, I think we need to see the proposed policy when is this a recommendation and also for spring fiesta? Or what, is that, is it consistency purposes, you know what I mean? So I appreciate Commissioner Lynch bringing it to the attention. I think we should at least be consistent with these events. You shouldn't really do it for one and not the other. That would be my assumption, Chief, right? Because it doesn't really matter. Because I do remember a significant amount of them at that event too, so. I don't really know either way to tell you the truth, but from my personal opinion, I'd like to look and review the policy and then make sure we're not violating any other law. You know what I mean, like, from a park standpoint, it's openability, but.
It's probably a little late for spring fiesta because that's going to be in June. And this really has to be advertised.
Okay.
We ain't making no go. Right.
All right, thank you, Commissioner Lynch, and we'll back to that policy. Anyone else under new business?
I just got a text from a local resident. And he said, did the township ever consider a children's playground at Jim Dietrich? And that's something I've heard other people talk about. Because there really isn't a playground for kids, and I know when we closed Cherokee Ranch, I was maybe looking to take some swing sets or something over there, and that never took place. But you know, Jim Beach is a great park for adults. There's nothing really for younger kids to do there. And I guess I will tell this person here that we will talk about.
The master plan for Jim Dietrich Park does, it actually shows a skate park being constructed there, and it shows a playground being constructed there. We've only really scratched the surface of the master plan of Jim Dietrich Park. Ultimately, most of the work stopped there because of funding priorities.
Anybody else under new business? No board appointments, anyone else wants to speak under the public portion? Please say your name and address.
Kevin Patterson from the school district. I just wanted to thank the board of commissioners tonight for their vote. Appreciate Mr. Bobek's help along the way in this process, and look forward to working with Mr. Dunkel as we move forward. So I just wanted to say thank you.
Thanks, Mr. Patch. Anybody else? All right. Staff comments.
Not at this time.
Oh, grass is all cut, right?
No.
Joel, you got any?
No, he doesn't.
Good. Jeremy.
Just look for the road. Thank you. By the way, on road paving, residents will really appreciate it. Look for it on the website. I will be sending letters out to all the residents that will be affected on it. And typically they want to come in June, so it'll be done pretty quickly.
Chief, any more?
I'll just touch quick on our April 2024 activity report. 103 calls for the month. We did have several structure fires along Elmore Avenue. Pretty significant. Other than that, announced the report.
All right. Anything? The ambulance back there, young man?
Moral is the showing of honorable but broken. Movie about EMS and the state where the nation is and the financing and what the toll mental health wise the provider is. The actress Sarah Jessica Parker has children that are EMTs, and they were telling her how rough COVID was. So she spoke to a producer friend. They made this movie. I emailed Jim today the flyer. That movie's going to be shown at the Miller Center, which is I think on 2nd Street in Reading, at 2:30 and at 6:30 tomorrow. Straight, everybody's been invited, encouraged to attend, and they're going to have some ambulances there, and the bureau will be displayed with the boss items.
Thanks.
Thank you.
Chief.
I want to, although I've done it in private, I wanted to thank the board and, several commissioners who attended my mother's services. The cards and the flowers were really appreciated by all of my members, so thank you.
So Monday is Memorial Day and we have our annual ceremony out at Strategic Park at 9 a.m. If you're free, it's a very nice moving ceremony for the officers that have given their ultimate sacrifice. And of course, Spring Fiesta is June the 8th. So we're moving forward with all that. Everything's coming together. So come on out. Have a taco with you.
There you go. James.
Planning Commission meeting was last week, hence all of the land development plan approvals on tonight's agenda. And the movie that, screening that, Jody referenced, you did receive an email from CDLG on that, a week or two ago. I will also resend his email, from this afternoon.
All right, Commissioner Lynch, you are first.
Just a hodgepodge, a couple of things. I did get to attend the library's Moms and Muffins event for Mother's Day. It was a very nice event. And I will probably take my mother again, God willing. But you know, one of the women who were seated at the table with us, when I had gotten up at one point to refill my teacup, asked my mother if I was her husband. And then I posted a picture of my mother and I at the event, and one of my mother's friends commented and said, "Oh, Kevin, great picture of your parents." So I don't know if serving on this board is just really wearing on me, or if they were actually paying my mother a compliment, but it was very, very nice event. I mentioned a couple meetings ago that we've been working on a 5-year plan with the chief. Obviously for reasons, you know, we've had a little hiatus there. But as the plan kind of gels in my head a little bit, I had a conversation with the chief, and you know, one of the things that he talked about is the interdepartment workings here in the township, and that the police department has a much closer working relationship now with our codes department. And last week I had an opportunity to talk with Mr. Dunkel for a few minutes, and he also commented, kind of unsolicited, that the codes department has a much better working relationship now with our police department. So to the general public, you know, that yes, you know, we do get calls in about code violations, but you know, together our two departments are working diligently to the best of their abilities, you know, to stay on top of these things, to stay on top of blight and issues. I know we don't get to every single call immediately, but we are looking at things and moving forward. So thank you. And just to reiterate, I do not hate dogs. You have a dog. I have a dog.
Thank you, Commissioner. Commissioner Hoffman.
Yes. With Alex, I have to say, being a chief, doing a good job for the first year, just getting the fire board, you learn a lot about the fire engine, the fire department. We're interviewing paid fire people. We have some good applications, and that's stuff. By July, we will be hiring 2 new full-time fire people from Muhlenberg Township. We got 2 more interviews.
Thank you, Commissioner Wolfinger.
Well, I just want to say thank you to our staff. I mean, we have a great staff, and I hear it from the public. I mean, I talk to different businesses that open up, and they Steve Shuckle's a great person to work with, you know, that they get to open up faster to the, comparing us to other municipalities. I think that we're doing a better job. I mean, our parks department, I mean, I see you guys working Saturdays and Sundays and all the events that we have. When I talk to people about how their municipality is, you know, and this one person saw our magazine, you know, that comes out, and it was like, can't believe you guys send this out and have all this information in. I mean, the parks department is all the things we're doing throughout the summer is great. We had beginner disc golf courses, 10 people came to. I mean, we do a lot in this municipality for our residents, and thank you very much.
The tired commissioners to rule you, anyway, mission to the family.
Condolences to Chief Hoover and Sergeant Munoz. And, yeah, I just want to recognize my wife. She's a rock star. Gave birth to our first child, and, it's been an amazing process. So that's it.
Thank you, Commissioner. I got nothing. Have a good night, everybody. See you next month.